Hi, America. I want to tell you about a recent experience I just had. So I was in Costco, I was at the returns counter, and a young couple walked up with their cute little chubby baby. He was precious. And as cute little chubby babies do, he's sitting in his daddy's arms and he's looking around, and what he's seeing in Costco, he's noticing at all the employees behind, they all look different. And you could see him, he was kind of looking with his little self. I think he was maybe 11 months old, but he's looking, and the look on his little face was, you could tell something didn't seem right to him. He's looking, and then he happened to look over in my direction. And the instant he saw me, he got this big smile on his face. It was so precious. And right then and there, I was witnessing him looking at all the masked faces and thinking, something's not right, something's not right, something's not right. And then he saw me, and it was like instantly, hey, I see someone I recognize, something I recognize, a face. It was so precious. And he smiled at me, and then we had fun smiling at each other. And it was like the 20th seconds of happiness in Costco. It was so, so fun. Kids are being really affected by what's going on here. With all this mask wearing and the distancing and keeping yourself away from everybody, it's unnatural. It's not a human instinct to do that. And we need to talk about it. We need to really address it, and we need to do something about it, more importantly. You know, I mentioned before that my kids are in sports, and everything was good. They got to participate in the fall season because it was all outdoors. Now we're heading into the winter season, and people are really freaking out. They're starting to tighten up, and so much so that if my kids are going to play basketball, they will have to wear a mask to sit on the bench. And that doesn't make sense at all. If you think about it, if you've ever watched a basketball game, there's offense and defense, correct? And they're usually from opposing teams. There should be, unless it's a practice situation. So they're opposing teams. And you have the offensive player and the defensive player, and the defense player is usually taught to play close defense. You know, there are situations where you want to play tight defense. That means you're going to be within 6 feet of that other person. So how does it make sense for my kids to have to wear a mask sitting on the bench next to players that they had been practicing with in close proximity for weeks? But when they're out on the court, they can be right up close to somebody who's not on their team and not have to wear masks or anything. Does that really make sense? Of course it doesn't, but that's another hoop everyone's going to have to jump through. And of course, if spectators want to be in the gym to watch, guess what they're going to have to do? Not just show, they don't have to just pay admission, but you have to have your ticket on, which is a mask over your face. That's your ticket in. So subsequently, our kids are not going to be playing sports this winter. We're going to find stuff to do outside, and my kids were really bummed about it. I totally get that because it's something they were really looking forward to doing. But you know, one thing I told them was, so, you know, you've been focusing on stuff that you're interested in doing for yourself. Maybe now's a great time to instead do something for somebody else. Look outside yourself and find something else to fulfill your time with. That's just one thing. You know, school is another thing. Kids have to wear masks. My dog and I were walking the other morning, and the kids started putting on their masks, and I said, oh, it's okay, guys, I'm not scared. They said, oh no, we have to because the bus is coming. The bus was coming, they had to put on their mask to have, you know, that's their ticket onto the bus. When they get to school, they're not going to get to take off the mask. It's going to have to stay on unless they go, you know, unless they need to drink or eat or something. You know, we have family who live in California. The school there is requiring them to wear masks the entire time, even at recess time, of course. There's no going to the bathroom by yourself. The whole group of boys or the whole group of girls has to go to the bathroom, so there's only certain times throughout the day that you'd be allowed to go to the bathroom. If you're drinking water, you're allowed to drink water, but only for 20 seconds, and then you have to stop and put your mask back on. This is a private school. Our family in California is paying for their kids to go to prison every day. That's really what it is. Why are we doing this? I really wonder why we're doing this. Why are we allowing our kids to be subjected to this? You know, the numbers just aren't there to back what's being done to our kids. So I looked at the CDC numbers today. The most recent today is November 11. It's Veterans Day. By the way, veterans, we want to thank you for all you've done. We want to thank you for fighting the wars that you fought in to give us what we have today that is trying to be taken away again. So we are trying to in a teeny tiny way, walk in your mighty footsteps and fight this fight. So thank you, veterans, so much. We have veterans in our family. We're very grateful for what you've done. The numbers today, according to the CDC, November 11, 2020, is this, okay? CDC, so this would be considered nationwide, of course. In the 0 to 4-year-old age category, there are 130,086 positive cases, okay? That totals 1.7% of the cases. Ages 5 to 17, so again, we're going over all school age kids, 570,274 positive cases. And again, if these are all positives, we know that they're not, okay? In the 18 to 29-year-olds, so this would go into college then, 1.8 million have tested positive. We've had that many positive cases of COVID, okay? Percentage-wise, that's 23.8% of the positive tests. Okay, so now, as we've gone over in our previous video, the number of cases is not a direct correlation to the number of deaths. It's so far off. It's so minute compared to the number of cases. So in the 0 to 4 age category, 0 to 4 years old, there have been 40 deaths in the entire United States. 40 deaths total. And if that's all COVID, we'll leave that to your judgment. In the 5 through 17 years old category, 73 deaths total in the whole United States from the time they started counting. 18 to 29 years old, there have been 934 deaths in the entire United States. Again, if that is even, the correct numbers. Now, in looking at what that means percentage-wise, okay? So here is a little visual aid to help us, okay? Our dollar bill represents 100%. The penny here represents 1% because, of course, we know that it takes 100 of these cute little pennies to equal $1 bill, okay? So this would be 1%, this is 100%. The percentage of kids 0 to 4 dying from COVID is less than 1/10 of 1%. That means if you took this penny and divided it into 10 equal parts, it's less than one of those equal parts. 5 through 17 years old, same percentage, less than 1/10 of 1%. That's according to the CDC's own website. The school that I told you about that we have family attending in California, they're going to shut down for the flu season. They're going to shut down and go online for the flu season. Why? Why? Let's go back to this. Divide this penny into 10 equal parts. It's less than one of those parts that would equal the percentage of kids that are dying from COVID. In 0 to 17 years old, why are we shutting down schools? Parents, here's what I want you to think about. If you're like myself and my family and you don't agree with what's going on, if you don't like this demanded behavior of thinking you have to wear a mask, but yet you're still sending your kids to school and they have to put on a mask and you're condoning that, that's what you're doing, you're condoning that, please think about what you're teaching your kids. That even though you have convictions that are strong and you think something is wrong, you should still go along and do it anyway. That's what you're teaching your kids when you ask them to put a mask on. How many of you have seen parents get down in front of their little kids and have that little mommy to child talk of, I know you don't want to do it, but you just have to put it on your face. We don't have to be doing that. Our kids do not have to be doing this. Parents, you're teaching your children to comply. You're teaching your kids that even though you have convictions, just push those to the background and do this anyway. I know that a mask is a ticket to a lot of fun things like getting into school. Kids love going to school rather than staying home, or playing sports rather than missing out. I know that. My family's going through that ourselves. But when are we going to draw the line? You know what? In the city where we live in Maricopa County, the school district gets, through federal, state, local money, above $9,000 per student from different municipalities. more than $9,000 per student. Imagine this, parents. Imagine if you decided, I'm going to show my kids what it's like to stand up for what we truly believe, and I'm pulling my kids out of school. Do you know that if only 100 students left our school district, that would be $900,000 the school district would not get? That's almost $1 million. Do you think that would get the school district's attention? It would. Imagine if we did this. Everyone who believes this is wrong took their kids out of public schools. Imagine what that would do. That would get their attention. Imagine if every parent who believes masks are wrong and social distancing and all this other behavior is wrong. Imagine if all of you parents with your kids in private school took your kids out of that private school. That private school would listen to you really quickly. You'd have their attention like that. Parents, that's what it's going to take. This is over when we say it's over. As long as we keep going along with it so that our kids can be happy and not be sad and all that, it's going to keep going. Suicide has gone up in ages 10 through 14 here in Arizona. Kids are struggling with what's going on. How is that right? There have been 9 kids supposedly have died from COVID. I would bet you there's more than 9 kids suffering or have suffered fatally from this here in Arizona. It is up to us. You know, the Bible tells us something very wise, and of course, the devil is really good at twisting it and using it to his advantage, and that's what's happened. In Proverbs 22:6, we're reminded, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Parents, you're allowing your children to be brought up that this is normal. That is not normal. You're allowing your children to be brought up that it's okay to comply, even if it's something you don't believe in. You're teaching your children, and it's going to be used against them. Parents, we have got to stand up for our kids. We have got to show our kids what it looks like to stand up against something that's wrong. We have to be the ones to do it. If we don't do it, no one else will. If you're scared about homeschooling, please don't be. I have a quiz question for you. Quiz question number 1. Who was your child's first teacher? You were your child's first teacher. Quiz question number 2. Who loves your child and wants to see them succeed more than anyone else in the world? It's you. It's you. You are the answer to both of those questions. Pam Popper at MakeAmericansFreeAgain.com. They have help for homeschooling. They have wonderful resources. Peggy Hall at thehealthyamerican.org has wonderful resources for homeschooling. Here in Arizona, we have a wonderful website. You can message us if you're not sure what it is. Look it up. I can't remember. Arizonans for, AF something or other. Arizonans for Free Homeschooling. It's really, really wonderful. Really good help. Parents, you can do this. You can do this. Your kids can learn to enjoy it. Your kids will really enjoy being home, being free, not having to wear a mask. Parents, you have an awesome, awesome mission right now. Parents, it's time to unmask our freedom. Are you ready to show the world that you have unmasked your freedom? Then contact us because we have the gear to help you do that. We have t-shirts, red and white, adult and kid sizes. We have yard signs. We have business cards which you can take, you can purchase, and you can hand them out to people. Help them realize they can unmask their freedom also. All of this is at cost. We are not in this to support ourselves in any way or make any money or support the cause, because the cause is supported by each one of us by doing our part. So please, America, join us. Join us on Instagram, Twitter, if you want to. But we're also on Parler, Gab, and Rumble. YouTube, Facebook, and we forgot about those guys a long time ago. Who cares? Because it's about person to person. It's about unmasking our freedom. America, we are on Parler, Gab, Twitter, and Instagram at Unmask Our Freedom. You can find us on Rumble, Unmask Our Freedom, YouTube, Unmask Our Freedom. Join us. Be a part of us. Spread the word. It's time to unmask our freedom.